I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola virus dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valve, exacerbating my impeccable woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic echographic and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent to Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in a tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease, so I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve! Take a scalpel to the vertebrae. I need some suction in the carotid. I'll bring the crash car.
Broadcast radio, now podcast. I'm Dr. Steve, your old pal. Hope you all are doing well tonight. Yep, made it to Friday night, Amanda. Thank you. It's Amanda D, my WATP friend, who you can say hello to at Skankfest because she's on her way there. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Medical Legal Connection. Uh-oh. I better watch what I'm saying because I don't want to get into medical legal trouble. And Ryan is saying hello to the Fluid family. So hello, everybody. Yeah. And, you know, I'm fine doing this just for our friends because I do a radio show. I don't do a live stream. Now, I'm working toward that. I'd like to have a Jimmy Dore style live stream someday. I got to have actual people that work for me that run things, because I can't do all of this. But anyway, yeah, that's what I'm sort of heading toward. I'd like to do a thing where I criticize medical journalism. Probably wouldn't be every day, obviously. That'd be stupid. But and educate people on how to detect when medical journalism is just feeding a line of, fecal matter. But for right now, here we go. Yes, no, it will not. Dr. Scott makes no claims regarding his CBD nasal spray, and probably will not help. Well, it might wash some of the Ebola dripping from your nose, but really Ebola is not a upper respiratory issue. Of course, I turn it into a serious question. But check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. And he was here very early and in the week, and I really enjoyed it. And we had a bonfire up at the lodge tonight for the last night for a lot of people. And it was great. It was very peaceful, very nice. And I called Dr. Scott, and I was going to see if he had his mandolin with him. We would play some tunes because I had my bass, but really nobody brought a guitar or anything. It's kind of dumb. And he didn't realize he was on speakerphone and threw out a few choice F-bombs for everyone that was there, but they were fine. But they laughed because I said, Jesus Christ, dude, you're on speakerphone. Go easy with the ixnay on the ukfe. But anyway, okay. So Medical Legal Connection deals with personal injury suits. Very good. I do independent medical evaluations for personal injury suits myself from time to time. And yes, wow, you guys, thank you. It's very impressive. The hardcore Amy from Kentucky knows the words to the song too. That's pretty freaking cool. Anyway, it's great to see all you guys. I wanted to just do this one is called The Case of the Parasitic Brain Worm, and I wanted to just turn you guys on to a story that I've got. It said when they started to open the biopsy, surgeons didn't know what they were going to find, but they certainly didn't expect this. A string-like worm was 5/16 of an inch long, so it's under a half an inch. It was alive and wiggled, stunned everyone in the operating theater. Said Sanjaya Senayake, an associate professor of infectious disease at Australian National University in Canberra, Australia, and senior author of the case report. When you operate on a brain, you don't expect to find anything alive. And that's the thing about neurosurgeons. A lot of times they're, well, anyway, there's nothing alive there after they get done anyway. But just kidding, neurosurgeons. You guys are awesome. We weren't expecting a worm at all. There was something abnormal there. Was it going to be a granulomatous lesion? Hopefully, you didn't go operate on somebody because you thought they had a granuloma in their brain. Was it going to be cancer? There you go. Who knows, but need to be biopsied. And a worm was the last thing at the back of anyone's mind. So I wonder if there was just one worm in there. That's the scary thing. And did it lay eggs? What was it a pupal form of? Was, there are some worms, the worm phase is the adult phase. In other worms, that's just a transitory phase. And they change into some other form. So that's, I don't know. Said she had pneumonia and high white blood cell count, low hemoglobin. That means her blood count, red blood cell count was low, and high platelet count. Platelets are involved in clotting, but in this case, high platelet count is what we call an acute phase reactant, meaning that it probably meant there was something acute, acute inflammation going on. And lo and behold, a very high C-reactive protein, another indicator of inflammation. She hadn't fully recovered from her illness when she had abdominal pain and diarrhea, then dry cough and night sweats. And now you start thinking about parasitic infections. The dry cough, you have to look in people's lungs, and every once in a while, just go Google roundworm infection, ass roundworm infection. That's a good one. When they cough things from their lungs into their GI tract, and then the worms grow, and they crap them out in these huge bolus of worms. I'll see if I can find one. I probably will get banned from YouTube if I do, but I'll try it after we're done. After 3 weeks of discomfort, she was admitted to the hospital. She had a history of diabetes, hypothyroidism, low thyroid, and depression. And doctors began looking for answers to her acute illness. Well, good for them. They tested for autoimmune diseases, sure, and parasitic infections, and prescribed prednisolone, or a steroid, to help ease the symptoms. 3 weeks later, the fever and cough persisted. She was readmitted to the hospital. They ordered more tests, and here's key. Her eosinophils were still high. Well, they didn't tell us they were high before. Eosinophils are a white blood cell that are often elevated when there's inflammation, but when there is a parasitic infection. But tests were negative for bacterial, fungal, and mycobacterial cultures. So, mycobacterium are these weird things that are sort of not bacteria, but they're not anything else either. They're in a class of their own. Stool showed no evidence of parasites. Good. She was prescribed mycophenolate, and then I'm going to get banned from YouTube for this one. She got ivermectin, don't you know? See, she got ivermectin. Yes, a human medication used for human illnesses, very well tolerated, in this case, appropriately prescribed, and maybe in other cases, appropriately prescribed as well. That's not what we're talking about today. But she got ivermectin for a parasitic infection. YouTube, don't, give me a content strike for this one. But the tests for roundworm were a false, in case her tests for roundworm were a false negative. I like that. So they were cough, diarrhea, ongoing fever. They were thinking roundworms. Google roundworm or ascaris, ASCARIS, and be prepared to vomit. Doctors suspected strongyloides, but lesions remained on her spleen, even if the liver and lung lesions improved. This is a terrible article. They didn't tell us anything about liver and lung lesions. This person who wrote this, Tara Halley. Tara, you are not a good writer. Okay, at least not. This is dramatic, but it's very poorly written. We didn't know anything about lung and liver lesions. Reducing the prednisolone dose affected respiratory symptoms. So by January, a year after the initial symptoms began, the medical team added the monoclonal antibody mepolizumab, but her symptoms worsened. I'm not familiar with that one. We'll look it up in a little bit. Then they did a brain MRI and there was a right frontal lobe lesion, and they recommended open biopsy, and they discovered the worm. Well, now I'm excited to find out what the worm is. The specimen was Ophidascaris robertsi, an intestinal roundworm. So it's not Ascaris, but Ophidascaris, typically of the carpet python. Never before seen in a human, the only animals in its life cycle are small marsupials or mammals that are consumed by the pythons. So this is the first case of Ophidascaris infection in a human. Other cases could occur, warn the doctors in their case report. Yeah, I mean, if you see it once, you probably missed it 1,000 times. That's what happened. The best guess for how the patient contracted the infection was by inadvertently consuming larval eggs on wild vegetation that she collected near her home to eat. Stop with this foraging crap. I understand. She lived near a lake known to be a home to carpet pythons, so the eggs could have been living in the plants she collected around her hands or kitchen equipment. Stop foraging. It's bad enough when we have lettuce that has E. coli on it because someone took a dump in the lettuce field. It's hard enough, but when you're out there foraging, my sister likes to think she's a forager, and she went out in Arkansas and foraged, and I found these mushrooms. I know what they are. Almost killed her. She was hallucinating, but not the good kind. It wasn't like she picked a bunch of magic mushrooms and cooked them up. She picked some fungus that is nearly deadly to humans, but she survived it. And hopefully she learned her lesson from that. But anyway, yeah, there you go. So anyway, let's see if they have anything else. If you're foraging, or using native grasses or plants in recipes, it would be a good idea to cook those instead of having a salad. Yes, I agree. Although there are things that can survive cooking, as my sister found out. That would make the chance of getting something really rare even less likely. And don't use tap water in your neti pots, and don't swim in fresh water if it's warm, because amoebas, at least if you do, don't go upside down, get water up your nose and get amoebas in there, because when you get those in your brain, we can't get rid of those. So let's see if we can find this Ascaris roundworm. Let me find some images. Let's just Google image this, see what we can find. They're really horrific. And I'm going to have to be careful about which images I show, I think, because, okay. So I can just show this page. It's okay. Let me share the screen. Oh, wait, am I still sharing a screen? Okay, sorry. This is going great. Okay, here's Ascaris. These are roundworms. They are horrific. This is their life cycle. I'll bring this up for you so that maybe you can see it. But basically, the larvae are coughed up and swallowed, and then they enter the GI tract, and then maturation proceeds in the small intestine. I'm looking over here, and these things, and then you excrete the unfertilized or fertilized eggs, which then are ingested in whatever you happen to ingest them in. And this is the life cycle. They suck. And here's what they look like. They're horrendous. And here's a big glob in someone's intestine. That's on a colonoscopy. And here's another big glob that someone excreted. A lot of times after someone, can you guys see those? Let me see what you're seeing. Yeah, you can see it. Excreted after someone is given medication to kill them. And then you'll see this. And let's see. Yeah, here's a nice big bowl of, looks tasty, like spaghetti, except it's not. It's roundworms. I wonder what they taste like. I'm surprised that people haven't tried to make us eat these. I mean, we're going to have to eat crickets and all this other crap now. Why can't we start growing roundworms in things' intestines and having to eat those? It's quite disgusting. But anyway, okay. Let me see if there are any. Yeah. Okay. So here's a good fecal transplant therapy would have cured it. In this case, actually, probably not, because as Joshua says, the butt spaghetti would have just fed on the new feces. That works for inflammatory bowel diseases like Crohn's and ulcerative colitis and even C. diff. But those are microbial illnesses or illnesses of inflammation. And so fecal transplant therapy will work for those, but won't work for this so well. All right, let's see if we've got anything else in here. Yeah, this is, yes. Well, okay, Joshua, you don't know my sister. She knows everything. Now she'll say, "Oh, Steve, he knows everything." No, I do know everything. That's the difference. I actually know what I'm talking about. And if I don't know, I say I don't know. My sister says, she thought she knew what she was dealing with, and she's like, "Well, I know what that is." The Look, I love her, but the arrogance, the Dunning-Kruger, it's Dunning-Kruger, just the level of Dunning-Kruger. And she's not a dumb person, but she doesn't know what she doesn't know. Anyway. All right. All right. So I don't have a whole lot for you tonight, other than I'm day, whatever, 4 or 5 on the ketamine. Have a completely new outlook on things, but it's easy to be holy when you're on top of a mountain. And if anybody can tell me where that comes from before I close out, I will send you a whole crap load of new merch. But that's the problem, is can I bring this into my real life when I get out of here? So I would like to do some more live streaming. It's like I said, I do a radio show. We get thousands and thousands of listens on the radio show, and quite a few thousand on the podcast as well. But nobody wants to listen to me drone on and on and on, except for a few people, and I really appreciate that. And I enjoy just hanging out with you guys. And I, but I would like to do more live streaming, so I'll let you know. I'll keep you in the loop. We're going to record on Wednesday around 5 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock. So watch my Twitter for our first show back after my, mind healing sabbatical. And I will have been on the ketamine at that point for about 10, I guess, well, at least a week, maybe. I don't know. I've lost track. What I started on Tuesday. Yeah. So it'd be a week and a day. And I'll keep you in the loop on that. So far, so good. And I'm very happy with it. And I can't tell how much of it is this and that. I should have. I'm a scientist. I know better than to try to change 2 variables at one time. But I was really in a hurry just to feel better. I wasn't so concerned about what was going to get me there. But we'll know if I get back and I start backsliding and feeling like crap and I'm still taking the ketamine, then it was this place. And if I'm doing okay and continue, it could be either one. So, but anyway, there we go. Oh, hello. Ryan says, okay, I will. I enjoy just being with you all. It's fun. And I'll try to come up with something that's maybe a little bit more interesting over time, a format that's more interesting where I can control the screen a little bit better. And I don't know how Jimmy Dore does it. I think, and other shows like that, I think they have a producer that brings the stuff up and then they pop it over. I got to talk to Obnoxious John about that and see if he's got any ideas, because I know they do things a little bit differently. Correct, Joshua. Blind confidence might be good in business, but not with things that can kill you. Exactly true. So you hear that, Martha? So anyway, yeah, it was not Kung Fu Tse, or AKA Confucius, as we say in the United States. It was Somerset Maugham in the book The Razor's Edge. It's easy to be holy when you're sitting on top of a mountain. And what he's saying is, well, you know what he's saying. You all are smart. Anyway, I really enjoyed hanging out with you this week. If the coyotes come back, I'll jump back on. I will see you. I might do a Patreon specific show on Sunday. It just depends on how I'm feeling when I get back. And if not, we're going to start generating more Patreon content. So I appreciate the patrons hanging in there. And I promise I'm going to do better. And I even took off on my subreddit the pinned post that said I'm taking a break. I didn't realize I put that up almost 2.5 years ago. I've been a mess for quite some time, but I feel much, much better. And I appreciate all the support. You all are wonderful. And I'll see you on Wednesday. And thanks again. We'll do this some more. I think on the weekends, particularly if Tacey's gone to bed or if she's on a trip, which she's now that she's retired, she's going on a lot of trips. I'll just jump on and maybe Dr. Scott and I'll do some stuff, or it'll just be me. And thanks. Oh, and Joshua, yes, thank you. Yeah, Lady Di, listen, I'm not real plugged in with Peter, but he'll reach out to me every once in a while just to tell me that she's still in the nursing home, still suffering from Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, which is a form of dementia that's caused by alcohol, chronic alcoholism, and certain vitamin deficiencies. So listen, if you're going to drink, don't drink like she did. She's a good example of what not to do. And if there's any positive benefit, I know that there are some people that said they quit drinking because of Lady Di. And so, that's a net positive. So if she can be a negative example for people and they'll do good, then good for her. But yeah, she's got severe dementia. I think she's on a naval vessel, which good for her. That was one thing she was really proud of, was her military service, even though she, I think, got discharged, but she was still proud of it. So now she gets to relive it every day. So not the worst thing. Hello, Diesel Child. Yeah, she was not exactly the number one mom, but again, if we can, I tell my residents, I say, you can learn something from anybody. You can literally learn something from anybody. So the first, to illustrate that, I'll say, and if you have an answer for this in the chat, please feel free. What's the drug addicts or someone with substance abuse disorder, what's their favorite combination in the hospital? Anybody have any idea? My residents all know because they've all seen it. It's Dilaudid or hydromorphone mixed with Phenergan or promethazine. And you know why they love it in the hospital? Because it's awesome. So you can learn something from that. We can learn something from our, brothers and sisters with substance abuse disorder, that Dilaudid and Phenergan is awesome. So therefore, if you have a patient who's having a really hard time with pain, say at the end of their life, maybe a little Dilaudid and Phenergan would be something you could consider. So we can learn something from everybody. Let's see here. One last. Oh, no, it's really bad. Yeah, no, that was alcohol. That was alcohol. The reason I suspect it was alcohol is because nobody else got sick. What he's talking about is when Lady Di was, right. Yes, Diesel Child, opioid, exactly right. And lorazepam too. When Lady Di did her internship, which was one of the greatest things ever on Opie and Anthony, she was, as we say in Upper East Tennessee, a vomican quite a bit. Well, she done vomit. I don't like to vomit. I surely don't. And yeah, crack. Well, we don't prescribe crack in the hospital. Yeah, now Phenergan with codeine is scissor. They don't make it anymore. But you can still have a compounding pharmacy make it for you, or you can just get Phenergan and liquid and codeine liquid. I don't want to tell you how to make scissor, but I mean, we're speaking academically at this point. All right, my friends, take care. Thanks. I will see you Wednesday. Appreciate you hanging out, and we'll talk soon. It's your old buddy, Dr. Steve. I don't have a sign off. I'm just going to say, as we say in ham radio, 73s. Oh, by the way, whoever requested all the cameos today, thank you. I did them all from here. It was really fun to do. So if you want me to do a cameo from here before I leave, it's cameo.com/weirdmedicine. And yeah, thanks, Amanda. You have a safe trip to Skankfest, and I expect a full report. All right, everybody, take care. Thanks, Mr. Mangler, and everybody else. I really appreciate you guys. It's been really fun hanging out with you. Take care. Bye-bye.